Hey, what's up, guys? It's Bye here with a new tier list video. I haven't made like a tier list video for a long time. So today I wanna make a list of like commanders pair that I believe are very good that you can use for anti CD hoppers. Okay. So lately there's been a lot of talk about like how cheap it is for people to just jumping in and out of the cities when they are on the defense, right? When the enemy kind of like swarming on the territory, and then people just like jumping in and out of the city, try to like hitting on some market using either a tier Decatur, per cow hero. I would say are the two probably best like city hopper marches right now. There could be some other market as well, but I want to show you guys like what I've been using in the last KvK and kind of work very well for me to kind of like fire off against those city hopper. Okay. Here's a list right here, right, for the people who do not want to hear me explaining on why these commanders can perform very well against the city hoppers. Okay. But first thing first, right? Let me go back into the game real quick here, and let me explain to you guys how city hoppers commanders work, right? Like what kind of city hopper commanders you want to use, right? So as of right now, right, I would say the two best city hopper commander, or like some of the best city hopper commanders, are Hero, okay, Hero, Attila, Alex, XY can work as well, and William, right? So like what are some of the common things that these commanders have that they work really well for city hopping? Okay, so for let's say for Hero, right? Like why does his commander work very well for city hopping, right? Because he's come with a 20% chance when he do a normal attack damage, he can cast his active skill again, which is can deal very high amount of skill damage. He also come with a counter attack damage increase here, which is kind of like an anti-swarming mechanic. One of the commander, I would say one of the best commander right now for city hopping is Hero, right? Percal help him with that anti-swarming mechanic, but he doesn't help with that trade-off, right? The good trade-off is coming from Hero because he has that very high chance, 20% chance to cast his active skill again. And when he does, he also immune to all kind of a defense reduction debuff. And if he getting swarm, he can get up to 40% counter attack damage, right? So when you attacking on him, he gonna deal a lot more counter attack damage on you, right? Another commander that is very good for city hopping is Attila. Okay, so like what making Attila so good for city hopping? Against, he also coming with a very good skill for city hopping. 25% chance to increase normal all damage by 50%, and another 25% chance to increase all damage by 100%. Right? So like Attila is a very good commander for city hopping because you go out of your city, you hit on the target for like a 1 or 2 time, you guarantee, not a guarantee, it's an RNG here, but you have almost 100% chance to increase your damage by at least 50%. And that is when you get that very positive trade-off from just doing a single attack on the march and then running back inside before the enemy can cast their skill. Okay, it is because of this skill right here, not because of Takeda. Takeda doesn't bring a lot to the table. He does bring some tankiness and some attack damage, but the main commanders that provides that positive trade-off on the city hopping is Attila. Okay, Alex is also an okay city hopping commander because he does come with a very high attack, and he has a 10% chance deal 1700 damage when it trigger, right? Pretty low chance compared to Attila Decatur or Hero. Okay, you can use him, right? But or you can combine them together. Alex and Hero also a very good combination right there when you try to city hopping. Alex come with 10% chance to deal 1700 damage. Hero come with 20% chance to deal 1400 damage, I think, if I remember correctly. Another commander that can do really well for city hopping is William, right? William also come with a 10% chance of where is it again? He commit a 10% chance to deal 100 damage here, right? While on the map, all commander carry unit attack increased by 20%, and normal attack have a 10% chance to inflict 800 damage, okay? So like also a small chance right there for you to jump in and out of the city to hit on the march, and you can get a positive trade if that skill trigger, if that normal attack damage trigger. But when you compare William to either Alex, Alex or Hero or Attila, then he kind of lose out a little bit. But you could try using Attila and William as well for city hopping. Another idea for you guys to try, because if you use these two commanders, you gotta add up to a whole bunch of like percentage from Attila, and then that extra 10% chance from William as well. You can get a very good trade-off from this pair. Give it a try and let me know. So you gotta understand the mechanic of like what are those city hopping commanders can do and how can you counter them. Okay. So with that being said, let's go back to the tier list here, and I'll explain to you guys why I think these commanders can be good for like anti city hopper. Okay. So I mean like Attila the Cater, Alex Hero, Pukal Hero, right? I mean like most of the city hopper, the most effective, I would say the most effective commanders for city hopping right now are Attila the Cater, Pukal Hero, and Alex Hero, right? So the best way to counter against them is to just use those commanders so that they gotta do like a 1v1 against the same exact commanders, right? So you gotta, if you have those commanders, right, Attila the Cater, Alex Hero, Pukal Hero, you can give it a try and bring it right with you so that in case they try to city hopping on you, they got fight against the same pair. Okay. So Attila Cater and Pukal Hero can work very well in situation where either 1v1, like someone just try to jump in and out, one person, or like 2 or 3, right, or swarming, like so like more than 2 or 3 people try to jump in and out of the city to hitting on your marches. Attila Cater, Pukal Hero can work very well. Alex and Hero work very well in a situation where it's like a 1v1. Right, let's say only one guy from the enemy side is online right now and they try to jump in and out. Alex and Hero can work very well. But like in a situation where there's like a multiple 4 or 5 marches from the enemy try to hopping in and out of the city and they target on your march, Alex and Hero kind of losing out. But overall, I would say Z3 are S plus tier for like anti-city hopping. The next one we're going to have Humanitor and Artemisias. And Charmatel and Hero. Okay, so let's go back into the game and I'll explain to you guys why Humanitor and Artemisias can work very well. And I'll tell you guys about some downside for Humanitor and Artemisia as well. So one thing very good about Humanitor is that she has that anti-city hopper mechanic, because whenever she can skill damage, she got fire back. Alright, so let's say if that hero jumping out and casting a skill on my Humanitor, she just gonna send it right back to that guy, right? So like whenever Humanitor taking damage here, she's just gonna send back 800 damage to the same person who attacking on her, right? One of the reasons why I often get very good trade up against Pukal and Hero using Humanitor is probably one of the reason is here. Another thing is that she is using Archer counter infantry. And Artemisia is pretty tanky as well with a lot of defense, and both of these commanders come in with like a damage increase, you know, like mechanic, right? So they can deal a punch, right? They can deal quite a punch when those skill trigger in, right? Humanitor increase damage or damage by 20%. Artemisia's at 8% rate, she can increase the damage up to 50%, right? So very high. The only downside, the only reason Humanitor and Artemisia is not at the S plus tier is that they don't do very well against Attila the Cater. Cavalry, Sea Hopper is gonna destroy Humanitor and Artemisias. So let's say if the enemy is kind of like having couple Attila the Cater, you probably don't want to bring Humanitor Artemisia too close. But Humanitor Artemisias can work really well against Pukal and Hero. Okay, So that is something for you to keep in mind when you fight, when you use these commanders, right? The next one is that we have a Trauma Talent Hero, okay? So why is it pair very good for like anti-sea hopper, okay? One thing is that Trauma Talent Hero is anti-swarming. Let's say if they have multiple marches city hopping, you don't have to worry if they try to jumping on you, right? Because Trauma Talent Hero is anti-swarm. Hero 20% trigger, right? That is the reason why very good for anti-sea hopping. The guy try to come out hitting on you. If your hero skill kick in, he's gonna get wrecked. Okay, that's another thing for you to keep in mind. So those are the two S tier. Okay, for like anti-sea hopping. Next one we got S minus tier. Right, pretty good, but not as good as the top S plus and S tier. We have a Guan Leo, Guan Alex, XY William, and XY Sadin. Okay, so why is Guan Leo good? Right, Guan Leo can cast the skill very fast, and Guan is also have a chance as well, if I remember correctly. Let me go back into the game, okay? I believe that Guan also have a chance to deal more damage, right? When he hit the skill damage, right? If you can manage to catch the skill damage, you go get a very good trade-off if you can manage to catch that skill, right? And that is one of the reasons why Guan Leo is up there, because Leo can help Guan catch the skill faster with that 15% range. And Guan Alex, right? Guan Alex, again, Alex with that 10% chance to deal that 1700 damage, right? Again, if the enemy try to come out and hit you, and that 10% chance to kick in, hey, you're going to guarantee yourself a positive trade-up right there if you have an Alex with your Guan. XY William is almost as good, right? XY is a very fast catch range commanders. William with that 10% chance to deal that internet damage is pretty good, right? Same go with XY San as well, very similar. But XY and Sadin can work a little bit better when they have a multiple marches try to hopping in and out of the city. Okay. So here are some of the commanders that I strongly recommend you guys to bring out on the field when the enemy try to like city hopping a lot. Okay. All right. So for the people who only care about the tier list, they probably and they done watching the video already. Okay. For the people who stay, there are something else you need to do for you to do very well, like for your anti-sea hopper marches to do well. There is something else you need. That is two things: talent tree and equipment. Okay. So as I mentioned before, right? The whole idea for like a city hopper marches to get good cheer up is that they had the chance to either trigger their skill or they had to catch the skill very fast, right? So for you to be able to counter them, you're going to need a very good talent tree that also can trigger, that can help you cast your skill faster, okay? And you also need equipments to help you cast your skill faster as well, right? So, for example, right, last season, last KvK, right, I'm using XY with Horn of Fury here, right? With a Horn of Fury here, I can put it on here. Seed of Conquest. So I cannot use it, but my XY last season, I have a Horn of Fury on my XY. I also have max rage talent, right? Why do you say, okay, why max rage talent can work well against Sea Hopper? Because it can help you cast your skill maybe at 6 seconds or 7 seconds. So before the Sea Hopper marches can run back inside the city, you gotta be able to cast your skill, right? So like my XY and Sadin were casting the skill at like around 6 seconds or 7 seconds, right? Sometimes the march is coming out and they try to hop back inside the city. I zoom it down, I cast my skill. I got a positive cheer up right there, right? So like having the right talent tree and on the commander with skill talent tree, and having the right equipment that can help you cast your skill faster is very, very important. Okay, so that is some additional information you need to know for your anti-city hopper commander pair work well. Okay, and let's say if you want to use a tier cater to like kind of an anti-city hopping, you want to bring something that can do more damage, right? Because for some of the commanders that doesn't have a skill talent tree that has that like RNG factor for you to gain more rage faster, you want to increase more damage, right? So like for Alex, you want to do something that increase more damage, or like whatever, maybe bring a Ring of Doom, right? Something that can help you deal more damage, right? So that RNG factor right there, who's luckier one, right? If they try to come out, hey, if I get lucky with the Ring of Doom, hey, GG, right? So for you, okay, for you to perform well against the City Hopper Marches, you need to bring the right commanders, okay? And you need to have the right equipment and the right talent tree. So like in my last KvK, right, there was so many people were saying that, oh my god, why by slowing down on Pakal and Hero and whatnot, why he trying to fight them off, even though I was getting pretty solid, like not like crazy positive cheer up, but I was getting very, very good cheer up against them, right? You guys watch my stream, right? I share every when I have a time, right? I don't share every single report, but like when I have time, I just share, right? Sometimes I've been like purposely sharing the bad report, right? But because I was so last KvK, I have what? I have Alex and Hero, right? I also have Humanitor, Artemius. I also have Guan Leo, right? And I have XY and Saturn. I have four. I have four very, very good marches for anti-swarming, not anti-swarming, for anti-city hoppers, okay? And I also have good equipment as well. And I build my XYs have I maxed out rage on my XY. My Guan Leo, I don't max out rage on my Guan because my Leo can increase that rage engine by 15% already. So I don't put a lot of rage on him. But if I got another Horn of Fury, I would definitely put on my Guan. But I only have one Horn of Fury, which I dedicate that Horn of Fury on my XY. My Guan doesn't have a Horn of Fury, right? So last KvK, right, I was killing it. Like, feel free to go back to my live stream, man. I would destroying some of the player from the enemy team. I also bring in a lot of debuff as well for swarming and fighting up against City Hopper as well, right? So yeah, right. Give it a try, right? Give it a try if you want to. Let's say if you are very, very frustrated against some of those City Hoppers, give the marches a try, right? Another thing, right? Another technique for you to fight up against those City Hoppers is that you gotta be ready. Okay, if you see me fight, like when I know that there gonna be some freaking City Hopper coming out, I'm ready. The moment that guy come out, I'm swarming that guy down. Okay, so like having that, like being able to react very quickly for that 2 or 3 seconds, it will guarantee you a chance for you to cast your skill. Okay, for you to get good trade up against the City Hopper, you have to somehow cast your skill. Okay. Either one of the marches or 2 of the marches or 3, right? Or even more if they decide to stay back and fight. And depend on like what kind of City Hopper you fight against. Sometimes they get lazy with their Pakal Hero and they just stay out and fight. Then you want to bring some debuffer, right? So I got my XY, which is debuffing 30% defense. I got my Guan, which is silence the enemy. I got my Humanitor, which reduce their rage, right? So they cannot cast their skill very fast. And I got my Alex, which increase my damage overall, right? So those are some of the things that you gotta think, right? You gotta think when you bring out these commanders, right? What can you do to fight off those City Hoppers, okay? And that's what I did, right? That's what I did last KvK with my commander pair, right? And again, right, like I'm just sharing you guys my own personal experience here, so on what I do to fight off against the City Hoppers that I faced in my last KvK, and maybe you guys can give it a try, right, and see how it goes. Okay, guys, and let me know, right, if you go give it a try in the near future. Give it let me know in the comment section as well how did it goes. Okay, guys, And thanks for watching the video, guys. A peace.